Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Just Forget About It. Listen guys, it has been a journey trying to get this take. I have been taking to see Mr. Krabs, Sandy, SpongeBob, and Squidward all in one day. Ocean floor on them, okay? All right. So, we're going to take a deep dive for this episode. This episode is going to be called E&E, Exposed and Expelled. All right. So, deep diving today, we are going to explore a term that I can't definitively say that I'm coining because I'm not sure if it's a real term or not, but I'm going to be calling it negligent freedom. Now, in Exposed Expelled, in this 19th episode of Just Forget About It, as we have been covering topics supporting our spiritual healing, it has to be done. It has to be done. We got to talk about the most important aspect of all, my good folks. And that is changing ourselves with the responsibility of a word that I like to say as actionable reflection. Now, actionable reflection, I like this word because accountability can be a bit daunting. And don't get me wrong, I love to use, the word accountability, but I do feel it is overused and it has a negative connotation, as if, there's a need for correction or you're doing something wrong. So actionable reflection, I feel, is a little more neutral, as sometimes circumstances are out of our control, and even though with circumstances being out of our control, they still can affect our psyche and our train of thought, the way we process things, the way we digest things, the way we pick ourselves up, our resiliency, all of that makes us us. Okay. Now, as it relates to E&E, exposed and expelled, it's more about self-awareness, like a self-awareness check on a case-by-case basis, so that we can always be reminded that life is a journey, not a destination, guys. We got to keep traveling. Being unpretentious and willing to evaluate circumstances on a level that will promote revision, revising, refining, while we are having our human spiritual experience. For example, I said we deep dive in today, right? So I like to share an example of what I mean about E&E, exposed and expelled. Now, E&E moments for me happen every day. Every day. So I went to the grocery store maybe about a week or two ago, and when putting all my stuff on the conveyor belt, the cashier was actually another woman of color, but she looked, as if she may have been first generation. Now, when I first saw the cashier, she did kind of come off as being aloof, but I brushed it off because I was on the phone. And I say brush off in air quotes because my intentions was to do that. And to kind of just, keep it going, keep it moving, right? So after the transaction was finished, and all of my items were rang up, the cashier looked at me. And I looked at her. She looked at me. And I looked at her, but we didn't verbalize anything to one another. So in that moment, I then went back to what I said to you guys. I brushed off as, her kind of being aloof. So I challenged her. Not directly, but I challenged her. I said, I'm sorry. What's the total? I tried to play a little stupid, see if maybe she needed a little encouragement. And she still didn't verbalize my total. At this point, she only pointed to the screen. So when I tell you guys, in that moment, my shadow came right on out. JessForgetAboutIt came out to play. In that instance, I said, what the do you think I am? Do you think I'm a dog? Why can't you verbalize my total? And within that moment, the cashier to the left of us immediately jumped into savior mode and said, oh, your total is, she verbalized it on her behalf. And I paid for my groceries, right? By this time, I was heated. My shadow side was out. She was ready to play. And I couldn't let it go. And at this point, I saw a manager on the opposite side. So now on the right of the cashier that had helped me, talking to another, customer, helping with a transaction. So I aggressively flagged him down. He said, 1 second, ma'am. And that also made me heated, having to wait. So in the midst of me waiting and then him finally coming up to me, I unleashed it. And I said, I don't understand why this representative is having a customer facing position if she's not able to verbalize totals that customers have for their groceries. If she can't speak the respective language of the employer that she's working for within the country that she's in, maybe she should be in the back restocking the shelves. She shouldn't be in a customer facing role. And even the manager, his reaction was like, whoa, like that was a low blow. But being that, it's in a setting where the customer is always right, he acknowledged my grievances and, apologized. He gave me the pleasantries. And y'all know what? Y'all know I still ain't let it go. At this point, I had a laundry detergent and I wanted to get a sticker to indicate that it had been paid. So I said, I need a paid sticker. And again, by this time the manager had left off, so he was gone. The lady to the left came and saved the day and said, here you go, And I said, you know what? Next time you don't need to be on the register. And I walked out. I say all that to say, with the episode of Soul Sister, with all of the work that I've been doing to help you guys as I'm helping myself, that reaction set me back. And it did absolutely nothing for me. In fact, it depleted me. But to go beyond this, I will say that the party whom I was also on the phone with is someone that also triggers my shadow. But the greater question, or an even greater question we should be asking ourselves, and I ask myself, is what am I doing to change the power these triggers have over me? My life, my perspective. So I started to throw some actionable reflection in there. Started digging a little bit, guys. And I thought about where these feelings could be rooted in. What makes these feelings manifest in such a great way that I would negate all of this work that I've been doing to be a more understanding, a more kind, a more empathetic human being, especially to my own, meaning women that look and go through the struggles I go through. And at the root of my trigger, I realized, guys, abandonment issues. Abandonment issues. Now, this runs deep. And I think a lot of us may share this experience. So understand I'm coming from a place of goodwill. And this is, you are me. I am a part of you. We are learning together to grow and see ourselves through. Now, abandonment issues can manifest in more ways than a person being afraid of being alone or being afraid of the people that they love, that they built relationships with, loyalty with, will leave them. So for me, my abandonment issues show up in a supercharged manner. And it's usually out of me hoping to regain control in a situation that I feel the leverage is no longer in my advantage. And I like to call this and tailgate back on the negligent freedom. Now, because of the root of these instances and these responses, I believe we all can say we want freedom, right? The freedom to decide, the freedom to choose, the freedom to be loved, the freedom to be respected, right? You name it. But oftentimes we do this at the expense of sacrificing those that we love, we care about. If there is a misunderstanding, a situation that makes us uncomfortable, or a conversation that we may not be ready to have. Asserting ourselves or in the name of keeping it real. But is it really? Or is it really an illusion? For example, you and an acquaintance had an unpleasurable exchange, right? Y'all talk about it, whether it be via text or phone call, right? And it doesn't really get resolved. Y'all go back and forth with each other. Y'all exhaust each other to the point where you don't want to talk on the phone anymore. But neither of you guys have come to a stance of apologizing or, coming to a common agreement, whatever. It's still unresolved, right? Negligent freedom would be one of those respective parties then posting passive aggressive posts on Facebook or memes alluding to separation from people or, glorified instances of independence from toxic people, toxicity. It's like, I get it. And I understand because I've done it before. And I'm not saying, I am totally healed. But I want us to understand this on a level of the things that we are willing to sacrifice in the name of saving face for ourselves that only result in loneliness, resentment, bitterness, suspicion, suspicious behaviors, non-trusting attitude, negligent freedom. What is it really freeing us from but the ability to problem resolve? I do it too, guys. We burn bridges with people and then we badge ourselves with these self-administered, patches of independence and, hyper fixated moments of I don't need anyone. And we wear these things as if they're things to be proud of when really they are our wounds speaking for us. When are we going to get up and speak for ourselves? Myself included. I'm charging myself because I didn't feel good doing that. I also didn't feel good tying into feeling triggered by someone that I was on the phone with to prove my ability to stand up for myself in light of humiliating another woman that looks and struggles like me. I feel tears coming to my eyes, y'all. Y'all don't even know. This pain runs very deep and it's work. But always remember your biggest and most worthy investment will be to you, to yourself. So let's try this E&E. Let's expel these moments of negligent freedom and promote more moments of actionable reflection to actually gain wings to our purest phases of freedom in life. I'm trying every day, guys. Some days I feel closer than others. Today, I felt kind of far. But giving you guys some of my tactics and knowledge makes me feel closer. And I hope that you guys can take something from this. So until next time, J Fat out.